чеши. А где просто так? Такие нет? Ай, 23. Да не, нормально. Будешь на первый этаж, будешь на зал, туалет.
Hello and welcome back to the European Championships here in Moscow, Russia. If you're joining us watching on the Russian YouTube channel, hello, how's things? Hope you're all good. We have had a packed morning so far here in this incredible arena, and we'll go through everything in a second. Do remember that you can comment below the chat, say hello to me. Let me know how things are going. My name is Matt Groom, and I'm going to be with you all week. So if you usually watch IFSC competitions, today is a little bit different. We don't always show the practice and qualifications, but because of the COVID regulations, because we can't have as many people in the arena as we would like, we are broadcasting everything to you. This morning we had the women's practice and speed, and a new world record got beaten. Yulia Kaplina with a new world record. 6.96. An incredible time, and the arena went absolutely nuts when that happened. Considering there's only about 100 people in here, it was kind of cool to watch. So the athletes are going to come out in a minute, and this is their practice round. Starting us off, Jiva Levin on the left from Israel, Stepan Wolf from the Czech Republic on the right. So this is quite an exciting thing to watch because it's something you don't usually see. Usually the practice goes on in the background, it's not filmed. So what's the point of a practice? Why would the athletes want to come out and try it? Well, every speed wall feels a little bit different. The athletes need time to get used to the conditions in the arena and the wall itself. And also just give themselves a chance to sort of stretch out, warm up all those muscles and have a feel for the wall. So the times you're about to see are not qualification times. It's very important to remember that. This is purely a practice, but it does give us an idea of how the athletes are doing. Jiva Levin on the left, Stepan Wolf on the right. Jiva really going for it then. I was having a chat with him last night in the hotel. He was saying how excited he is to be here in Russia. And that's something that's been repeated by many of the athletes here today. Of course, a lot of athletes missing due to Corona, due to the difficulties of travel at the moment. But the people who are here, psyched out of their minds, as am I, to be honest, to be watching IFSC competition climbing once again. So I'm going to be in and out with the commentary. Finals are tonight, remember. And if you go to the Russian, if you type in Russian climbing onto YouTube, you'll find the Russian channel. You can set a little reminder to watch the finals later on. But this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you're joining us from, it's all about practice and then the qualification for the men. If you're interested in the results for the women's competition, you can find it in two places. There is an IFSC app that you can download, and that will give you the results. You can also look on the IFSC website later on today. Next up, Marcin Dziecki on the right from Poland, Nikolaj Kramarek on the left. So you can see there, that is the sound for a full start. Of course, it doesn't really matter in the practice. And that full start is all due to the reaction time. So after the final beep, you're going to be within 0.1 of that beep. Otherwise, it is a full start. Nikolaj Kramarek looking a little sheepish there. I think it was him who set off the buzzer. So Marcin Dziecki got his run in nice and clean. Nikolaj Kramarek, not sure what happened there, bit of a slip down early on. Of course, this is just a sighter, and that's an example of why we do these practice runs. Gets rid of those nerves. Get to feel the atmosphere in the arena. Getting some comments coming through on YouTube. Lovely to see you. Zulrafar says hello from Singapore. Hello, mate. How's things? Thomas Holmes is from the UK. Yes, Thomas. We're from the UK. Drop me a message. So let me just describe to you the atmosphere in the stadium at the moment, because as I said, this is quite a unique set of circumstances. Obviously, the world is in the middle of a corona crisis, and this is a very different event from normal. Everyone's taking all the precautions necessary to make sure it's a safe final. Next two athletes on the right, Alexei Rubtsov of Russia. And Lev Rudatsky of Russia on the left. Teammates, of course. Alexei, a bit of a legend in this sport. It's a big old swing off the back of that wall. 6.395 for Lev Rudatsky. Once again, this time does not count at the moment. It's purely a practice run. The athletes get 2 practice runs, they then get 2 qualifying runs. And the best single time out of the 2 qualifying times, that's what decides if they progress into the finals. We've already got our 16 women in the finals from this morning. Let's see which of the male athletes will join them. Just want to give a big shout out to Eddie Folk, who is on the chat. Eddie, of course, is the official IFSC photographer, absolute legend. I know he's stuck in New Zealand, and I know he would give his right arm to be here right now, taking photos. Eddie, you missed. We'll see you soon when everything's settled down, mate.
Ready?
Camille is on the live chat saying, can you help me out with some pronunciation? Yes, Camille. So on the right there, we've got Slovenian athlete Andrzej Peharaz. On the left, Edvard Gruzic from Latvia. So if you're tuning in expecting to see some old favourite athletes, I just want to remind you that a lot of people haven't been able to make it to this competition due to COVID regulations, difficulties of travel. But we have got a stacked field here today, and I cannot wait for the rest of the week. And I'll be with you all week. And we're broadcasting all of the qualifiers. So just stick me on in the background. Get on with your daily work, your daily play, whatever you're doing. And I'll try to keep you updated as we go along.
At your marks.
Simon Putizek,
Ready?
Czech Republic on the right. Daniil Boldyrev of the Ukraine on the left. Daniil, if you watch this regularly, as you can see, he's pretty handy on a speedball. 6.24 as a practice run for him. Gives you an idea of his quality. And we were chatting about this earlier on the live stream. It's very interesting to work out the tactics of the athletes for this practice run. A lot of the women seem to have one full speed run and one more chilled run. Be interesting watching this practice to see how it goes. First time I've ever watched a speed practice, so I'm new to this part of the competition as well as you guys. If you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them. I can't promise to know all the answers, but I can promise to find them out. Anita on YouTube asking who's my favorite for Tokyo. I have my favorites. You'll have to buy me a beer to get me to reveal my favorites. Try to stay neutral here, but yeah, I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? I think if you'd asked me a year ago, I could have been a bit more concise, but what with postponement of the Olympics, it's just all up in the air. So regardless, I can't wait for that to take place.
Ready?
Kipras Baltrunas of Lithuania on the right. Peter Kurik on the left from Slovakia. Both athletes stopping the time around about 10 seconds there. Next up on this practice, Ram Levin from Israel. From the Ukraine, Leonid Usachi. Ram Levin's brother
At your marks.
chatted to me last night. Ram, of course, very, very keen
Ready?
to make his mark on the speed competition. Leonid there, just on the left, obviously just warming himself up. Now let's chat about this because Leonid there failed to stop the timer. Now the reason behind this is at the top of the wall there is a timing pad. The athletes must touch that pad to stop the clock. And on your screens, it doesn't look like it's very far from the last hole to that timing pad, but trust me, I've been on a speed wall. It is a bit of a dyno, it's a jump to get to that pad and it's so easy to miss it. Next up, Will Bosey from Great Britain, and Nicholas Colin from Belgium. Will Bosey, the British speed record holder. He'll be looking to really make a mark on this competition. He'll want to make finals here. See how his first practice run goes.
Ready?
Will stopping the clock at 8 seconds, 8.57. Nicholas Kulin, 7.18. Will be looking to get that time down towards the 7 seconds. He's been working hard. I saw him in Ratho, climbing wall in Edinburgh. That was a year ago now. He was training hard for all of the speed competitions. It's something he's really sort of set his mind to the last couple of years. Next up, Yuval Shemela from from Israel, and Eduardo Yomenk from Lithuania.
At your marks. Ready?
Interesting watching Yuval's style there. You notice with some speed climbers, they're very straight onto the wall. There's not a lot of body sway, there's not a lot of motion left or right. Yuval, though, had a real sort of, you can see it there in that replay, sort of side-to-side dynamic style. Almost had a slip there. Anyone wondering, the route is considered to be about 6B if you were leading it. Very, very hard to put an actual grade on the thing, and that route never changes. So it's exactly the same in every competition. There are slight differences in the wall, and that makes a difference to the world record. But here in Moscow, it is a world record standard wall, and we saw a world record fall. Yulia Kaplina crushing that world record earlier this morning. 6.96. Will we see a male record go today? Next up, Hannes Puman from Sweden, Jan Kritz on the right. This is a chance for the athletes just to get those jitters out of their system. They've warmed up backstage. They're ready for this, but just to come straight into a qualification round would be a big ask for anyone. So they get 2 runs just to sort of iron out all those cobwebs I was about to say. I'm not sure that's a phrase though, is it? Is iron out the cobwebs a phrase? Who knows? So guys, if you're joining us and you're watching on YouTube, please send me a comment, say hello, ask me a question, whatever you want. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Shout you out if you're watching, listening. Joseph Smith says, big up the UK.
At your marks.
Alexandra Shikov from Russia on the left.
Ready?
Roland Rugen from Latvia on the right. Alexander Shikov stopping the time at 6.95. He'll be pleased with that. That is a good practice time for him. Perhaps we'll see him taking it a little easier in the second round. TVS on YouTube says he. Anyway, they're making brownies. Send a brownie. Next up, Alex Kazanov from Israel and Simon Lorenzi from Belgium on the right.
At your marks.
Alex Kazanov will be looking for a strong showing here.
Ready?
Nice close-up view there of the auto belay. Of course, we use an auto belay here at these events. Used to be done with 2 belays running backwards as the athletes climbed up. I think this is a better system. What is interesting is how the athletes position that auto belay. Some of them have it in front of them, some tucked behind one of the shoulders. Cheers, Martin Back, saying he's watching from Slovakia. Let me know where you're watching from in the world. It's always good to know people are watching and enjoying, hopefully. And remember, all of today's action accumulates tonight for the speed finals, the single event. There's various events throughout the week.
Ready?
Today is a qualifying and speed. Tomorrow is the boulder qualification. Monday is the boulder semi-finals and finals. Tuesday is the lead qualification. Wednesdays is the lead semi-finals and finals. Friday is the combined qualification, and Saturday is the combined finals, where 2 Olympic places are up for grabs. One for the men, one for the women. Adam Lowe asked a good question on YouTube. He's saying, why are they using opposite and opposed carabiners rather than a triple action or similar? Good question. Opposite carabiners are as safe as they come. Nothing's going to go wrong with that. And I guess it's just the system they're using here today. But I will try to find that one out, because that is an interesting question. Thanks for sending that through. Next up on the left is Ukraine's Yaroslav Kash. And on the right, Ukraine's Mykolai Kashuk. Mikhail Kashuk.
At your marks. Ready?
Jaroslav taking a slip and a fall there on the left-hand side.
Yeah. Okay.
He tried to come back on for another go, but they're allowed one attempt, regardless of whether they fall off. Trying to make the rules as fair and as similar to everyone here. A bit of advice to his teammate there, Mikhail. Miss White is watching from Moscow. Hello, Miss White. Deb on YouTube says, I've missed watching IFSC live feeds so much. Watching from the Philippines.
As your marks.
Next up on the right is Sergei Uzetsi. On the left, Carmel Raz-Romeo from Israel. Just to remind you again, this is the practice round. None of these times count. It's just a chance for the athletes to have a bit of a warm-up, see what the wall feels like. Gives the cameraman a chance to nail in their cameraman work. Oh, there you go. You can see the speed pad I was chatting about earlier. You must touch that to stop the time. If you miss it, it does not count. Next up on the right is Dmitry Timofeev, and on the left, Imrod Marcus.
As your marks. Ready?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Correction with that. On the left is Martin Stranik. On the right, Bodan Protniak. Next two athletes to join us for this practice session is Sweden's Fredrik Salakias, and on the left is Fedir Samalov. If you happen to be a YouTube aficionado, you'll notice that Fredrik appears in a few of Eric Carlson's vlogs. Is he a celebrity? Is he a climber? Is he an athlete? Is he all three? Who knows? Is he any good at speed climbing?
Very good.
Tell you what, he's not bad, 9.36. Fedir stopping the time at 8.78. Expect these times to drop. So we're into that qualification time. Next up on the right-hand side will be Sasha Lehmann from Switzerland. Czech Republic's Stepan Potiuk on the left.
As your marks. Ready?
Sasha Lehmann there with a slight slip down in the middle of the route, but if this is anything to sort of base a guess, and it is a guess for that qualification round, bet against Sasha. He was looking strong there until that slip, as you can see. He's replay coming up. Slightly twisted camera angle. Quite like that. Look at that concentration from Sasha there. That was that little slip, that little hesitation I was talking about.
At your marks. Ready? Valeu.
Wanted to drop some knowledge. Sorry, hope you can hear me now. I just wanted to drop some knowledge from Anak Vihoven watching back at home. He's telling me I've made a mistake. Apparently, I was saying how the belays used to run backwards to take out the slack. That's not the case. And the reason behind that is because of the stage itself. If they were running backwards, they'd fall off the stage. So the system used to be there was a man on a gree-gree, or someone on a gree-gree, and someone pulling the slack through the gree-gree. So still a two-person job, but different from what I was saying. So thank you, Anak. Really appreciate that. One for all you climbing geeks out there. Anyway, back to action. Jenny Kruder on the left-hand side. Jakub Konecki on the right. Jenny Kruder, a bit of a legend in this sport. Bouldering world champion from Slovenia. Speed is not really his thing, by his own admission, but that was a pretty good practice time there. So it'll be interesting to see how he steps it up for the qualification. On the left now, Stefan Wolf from the Czech Republic. Yeva Livin from Israel on the right. We are now repeating the athletes, so they each get 2 goes for this practice on either side of the wall. And you may ask, is there a difference between either side of the wall? Yeah, there is kind of. It's more of a feeling. The holds are obviously the same. They're symmetrical, the same, but it's just a feeling to be on the right and left. And sometimes athletes will actually prefer a side. So this practice gives them a chance to try both sides so they can get the best possible shot. Wanted to bring up a lovely YouTube comment here. We're talking about why they're using double crabs instead of triple crabs. This is from somebody on YouTube. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. It's written in Russian, but apparently it's about the national rules. So in the national rules, they use 2 carabiners opposing gates. He says 3 carabiners is also safe, obviously. It's about the bureaucracy. So there you go. Question answered. Thank you, YouTube. They use 2 carabiners because it's in the rules. Alex Littlejohn, first time watching a speed climbing event. She's only ever watched bouldering comps before. Yeah, if you're new to speed climbing, it is a strange world, I tell you. The athletic ability of these guys competing is just, it's next level. We'll talk more about that in the finals this evening. Marcin Ziecki on the left from Poland. Igor Kramerek on the right. Marcin stopping the time at 7.006. We're being pernickety, but pretty much 7 dead. He looks ready, doesn't he? Like in a hairband. Hairband? Is it a hairband? It's not a hairband, is it? What is that? So we're a little over halfway through this practice session. It is incredible arena here in Moscow. They are letting crowds in later on today. Of course, everyone is socially distanced. All the chairs are set up, so there's a chair, then there's a space, then there's a chair. And the rules are strict. You have to follow them here. And in fact, there are times when you might be disqualified for not following certain COVID regulations. They are taking things very, very seriously here, as it should be. Headband. Someone's just commented on YouTube. Thank you for that. Not a hairband, a headband.
And your marks. Ready?
Apologies if you were struggling with sound a sec. We're trying to sort that out. This is the practice round, so we're just getting all the technical sides sorted out.
And your marks. Ready?
Next two athletes out on the stage now, ready for their practice session. Daniel Boldyrev on the right from Ukraine. And on the left is Simon Potuzek
And your marks.
of the Czech Republic. Loving his bright green harness, by the way.
Ready?
Daniel Boldyrev there, stopping the time at 6.06 on a practice run. My man is an absolute beast. Can't wait to see him in the qualifications in a couple of minutes. So if you're listening at home, remember you can drop me a message on YouTube. Just type into into YouTube, the Russian climbing, and you'll see the links to all of these feeds. You can press the schedule button, get notifications when it's coming up. We're 3 hours ahead of the UK here in Moscow, 2 hours ahead if you happen to live near Paris in that time zone. It's about lunchtime.
Excellent position. Excellent position.
Kipras Baltronas on the left, Peter Kurik on the right.
Have your marks.
Kipras looking very chilled out there. He's smiling. He was trying to work out the exact rules when he was allowed to turn around there. They are very strict on things like this. You have to stand within, I think it's 2 meters of the wall waiting. So if you missed the beginning of our broadcast, I'm just going to give you a rundown of the events that take place this week in Moscow. Today it is all about the speed practice and qualification, and then later on this evening is the speed finals. Tomorrow it's boulder qualification day, which is 10 hours pretty much of qualifications, and I'm going to be with you guys all the way through that. Monday we have the bouldering semi-finals and finals. Tuesday is the lead qualification. Wednesday sees the lead semi-finals and finals. And that's the end of the single events. After that, on Friday, we've got the combined qualification, and on Saturday, the combined finals. And if you've never seen a combined finals, and you're only going to watch one competition this week, that is a spectacle. And of course, there are Olympic places up for grabs.
Ready?
Leonid Usachi on the right, Ramlevin on the left. Ramlevin stopping that in a very good time. Look at that leap there from Leonid on the right. Some wonderful slow motion shots here coming out of the Russian production team. Just see the amount of effort these athletes are putting in, and this is only the practice round. Imagine when things ramp up into the qualification and finals. Will Bosey from Great Britain on the right-hand side, and Nicholas Colin from Belgium on the left. You can see the athletes just adjusting the pad there at the bottom of the wall. That pad is the starter pad. That's where the timer comes. 1 foot has to be on that. If they lift it too early to begin climbing, that will be a full start. And you always see them sort of tweaking that pad, and that's just to make sure it's correct for them. Some of it is a height thing or a stance thing. Some of it is just because you want it to feel right when you're standing there. Nicholas Colin taking an early fall off the wall. Will Bosey flowing to the top, 7.8. Fascinating watching different styles of climbing here. Some athletes are just sort of pure grunt and muscle. Will Bosey there looking quite flowy. At the end of the day, who really cares? You can go as fast as possible. It doesn't matter what you do. Have your eyes closed for all I care. Just smash that times. Yuval Shemela on the left. And on the right,
Have your marks.
so on the right we have Eduardo
Ready?
Yomenko. Next up on the right-hand side of your screen is Hannes Human from Sweden. On the left, Jan Kritz. Apologies if you're hearing a bit of background noise. I'm in a commentary table, not so much a commentary box, and it is busy here. There's a Russian team just behind as well.
Have your marks. Ready?
Cheers, Claire, online, saying thanks for the live. Watching from France. Jan Kritz there, getting off to a storming start for his practice run session. Just missed the timing pad at the top of the wall. Once again, the athlete has to touch that timing pad. It doesn't matter how fast you get up to that point. If you miss it, if you jump and you're a few centimeters short or over, your time will not count. Qualifications are based on 2 runs, and it's the best time out. You can see there, sorry, I'm going to interrupt myself. You can see he's just below the timing pad here. Hopefully we can see that on a replay. Is he going to hold long enough? Nope. I'll take my word for it. But on the left-hand side, he was just beneath it. Alexander Shikov on the right from Russia. Roland Rubin on the left.
Ready?
We're almost at the end of our practice here at the European Championships in Moscow. The next round will be the qualification for the men. The women, of course, went earlier this morning. And if you're interested in those results, you can download the IFSC app. All the results on that, and they will be posted later on the website as well. Next up, Alex Kazanov on the right-hand side. Simon Lorenzi on the left. Check out the different styles of belaying here. Alex on the right, choosing to have the auto belay right in the middle of his body. While Simon Lorenzi chooses to have it on the right-hand side, over his right shoulder. Total personal preference down to the athletes. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no rule on that one. Whatever feels right for you. Alex Kazanov taking things a little easy there for him. You don't want to blow it on this practice round. You don't want to sort of give all of your beans. You don't want to blow all your beans on that first round. You want to save some for the qualifications. Having said that, having a good run in that practice is going to boost your confidence coming into the qualification. If you take 2 early falls, you haven't really had a chance to stretch your legs, then it's going to affect you. Nimrod Marcus on the right-hand side. Dmitry Timofeev on the left. Dmitry looking incredibly focused there. You'd expect it, but it's interesting to see the different athletes take on this. Some kind of chatty, smiling, staying relaxed. Some like Dmitry there. He's ready for war. Acceleration then. I'm not sure if he was doing that as a tactic, almost trying to stumble early on and then fight back for the time. Remember, the run only doesn't count if you fall off the wall. If you have a slip and you're staying on the wall, you can still continue. And of course, the other athlete might fall off. They might mess up. So it's always worth continuing. And I've seen it happen on many speed comps. And there's a slip, and then the other athlete slips. It's a lesson in life, that, ladies and gentlemen. Never give up. Good question from Willow on YouTube, saying, to qualify for the overall, do the athletes have to come at least top 20 in all disciplines, or is it top 20 as an overall score from throughout the 3 individual disciplines? Cheers, Willow. Great question. OK, to my knowledge, from what I found out this morning, and I will double confirm this, it is a score from all of them overalls. It's the top 20 added together, but you have to register for a competition. So you can't just not take place and hope to qualify. You have to have a go and be in the top 20.
Have your marks. Ready?
On the left is Sergei Zetsky. On the right, Kamil Romeo Raz. Fast time there from Sergei. Top the clock at 6.38. Five athletes left to go in this practice round, and then we move pretty rapidly on to the qualification round. In my little commentary box here, I can see some of the athletes coming out to check out the wall, talk through some tactics. The British team down in front of me, Will Bosey. Alex Kazanov has just walked out. Ron Caffrey on YouTube is asking, is this still the practice round? Yes, this is still the practice round. We're almost done with the practice round, but these times will not count. It's just a chance for the athletes to work out those cobwebs. Teresa Corti, who's the DJ? I don't know. He's playing some bangers. Bohdan Botnar on the left, Martin Stranik on the right. Martin, of course, known for his outdoor bouldering prowess. Very good mellow video recently dropped by him, some 8 C+. Next up, on the right-hand side of your screen, you see Fedor Samolov. And on the left, Frederick Silakias.
Have your marks. Ready?
Switzerland's Sasha Lehmann on the left-hand side, Stepan Potiak on the right. 3 more sets of practice runs to go before we get into the qualifications. Michael asks on YouTube, will there be Adam Ondra? There will not be Adam Ondra here at this event. I think he's in Spain, actually. I think he's trying Perfecto Mundo. 9B plus out there in Spain, but no, he's not going to be competing here today. Of course, he's already qualified for the Olympics. Good question here coming in. Oskiwi says, cheers from Australia. Is there a better chance than usual for speed specialists to win the combined with lots of strong boulders and lead climbers not there? That is a very good question. It's something I've been talking about with a few people in the last couple of days. Yes, is the easy answer. There is more of a chance. There's certainly more of a chance of people making finals and semi-finals you wouldn't normally expect. However, to win the whole thing, to have a complete wild card winning the combined and getting that Olympic ticket, I think that's more unlikely just because of experience and because there is still such a strong field of athletes here today in Moscow.
Ready?
Second-class athletes on the wall. On the right is Vladislav Julin, and on the left, Nikolai Yalovatsky. final athletes up on the stage for their practice runs. Jerne Kruder on the right-hand side. Jakub Konecki on the left.
Assembly position. At your marks. Ready?
I'll tell you what, Jerne Kruder just put in an incredibly good time there, 7.54. Jerne perhaps known more for his bouldering, lead climbing, trad climbing activities at the moment. I know he's been working tribe, possibly the hardest trad route in the entire world. I love the fact he can go from plugging in cams to speed climbing. Just shows all these sports are linked. Speed trad, is that a thing? Should that be a thing? I feel like I'd be good at that. Come on the YouTube channel, speed trad. I appreciate it sounds hideously dangerous, but I mean, you know, I'm just suggesting things here. Okay, so practice time is done for the athletes. We can see some replays. I'm going to let you watch that in peace, and I'll come back to you with a chat in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Moscow for the European Championships 2020. We've just been watching the men's practice session, something we don't usually see on these streams, so it was quite nice to give an extra insight into what the athletes do. I've got a question here from Ella Crocker on YouTube saying, where can we see the live results? This is something that's been asked a lot. If you download the IFSC app, the results are on there, and they will be posted later on. The reason I'm not running through them for you today is they're not on my screen. And it's tricky to work out at this stage who exactly has got into that final. As the qualification progresses, I will keep you updated with who's definitely qualified, who's right on the edge of qualifying. But the top 16 athletes from the qualification go through into the final round, and it's all to do with how fast you do it. Even though this event looks like it's a race, left versus right, it's not at this stage. It's all about the time. It's pretty tricky for the athletes not to get distracted, though. If you've got someone on your left or right, either falling off or crushing it, the ability to shut them out and get on with your own game is hard. So that adds an element to it, but it's all about time at this stage. Thomas Holmes saying the IFSC website has got, sorry, I'm just randomly shouting out names, but I've got a YouTube feed so people can comment underneath this event if you're watching on YouTube, and I'm shouting out people's questions from time to time. So Thomas Holmes says the IFSC website has got them, and he's talking about the live results. So log on to the IFSC website if you want to keep updated on everything. It's worth remembering, as well as we progress through this week, that we're going to be talking about Olympic places a lot, but it's not all about the Olympics. Being crowned European champ is a big deal for any climber, and there's a lot of athletes out there, especially the specialists in bouldering or speed or lead, who want that. They want to get that gold. And in this time of Corona, when we're not seeing as many competitions come through, the results mean even more than normal. Will Bosey is looking at me down in the athletes area, flexing his muscles. He can't hear what I'm saying right now. Didn't really realize Will Bosey had muscles, but damn. He's looking strong. If you're looking at the screen there, you can see the chairs dotted around, the athletes watching. It's fairly social distance. There are rules and regulations that take place to make sure that everyone is as safe as possible. In a couple of minutes, we'll be bringing you the qualifying runs for all the athletes getting ready for that finals. We are minutes away for the qualification round for the men's speed. The final cleaner is coming down from the wall. Is he called a cleaner? What's that man's job title? I will find out. Brusher, cleaner. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the male speed climbing. That view you're looking at on your screens is the outside of this arena. It's a bit snowier than that picture shows out there, a little bit colder, but we're all warm, safe inside. My name is Matt Groom, and I'm going to be calling all of the action for you today. you're looking at a women's graphics there, it's not the turn of the women's, it is the turn of the men. As the camera pans around to reveal that speed wall. 15 meters high, is 0.5 degrees overhanging, and this is a world record wall. That means that if the athletes beat the world record, it will count. We've seen a world record fall this morning already. Julia Kaplina with a time of 6.96. The men's time to beat is 5.48. Is it too much to ask for another world record? I don't think so. Come on, guys, step it up. Right, here we go. On the right is Stefan Wolf. On the left is Jiva Levin. This is where things get serious. This is where the times count.
Ready?
No full starts, nice to see. On the left, Jiva Levin is smashing up that lead wall, stopping the clock at 7.57. Good time for him. Stefan Wolf, slightly slower, 11.3. Remember today that we've got a mix of athletes. A lot of athletes are competing in the speed specialism because they want to compete in the combined final at the end of the week. So we're seeing a mixed bag of athletes here in terms of speed. Each athlete gets 2 runs, swapping sides of the wall, and the best time, that's the one they take through to the finals. On the right, Martin Dziecki and Nikola Kramaric from Croatia on the left. Keep an eye on Marcin here.
Representing Poland.
Marcin with his headband, as I've been told, not hairband.
Thank you, Mark. Ready?
Straight away, we can see the pure speed of Marcin Dziecki as he stops the clock at 5.84. Incredibly good time for him. He's going to be chuffed with that. That is, well, I hate to say this, I don't want to jinx it, but that should really be enough to get him to that top 16. We'll see. A long way to go. And we were chatting earlier about the different styles of climbers. Martin has got this very, very straight body position. You can see his arms moving, but his body stays still, just straight up the wall, no deviation from side to side. Thank you, Steve, on YouTube, saying it's Kaplina. Appreciate that, Steve. Julia Kaplina.
Representing Russia.
Right, next up, 2 Russians. Alexei Rubtsov, absolute legend of the scene, and on the left we have Lev Rudatsky. Alexei Rubtsov, perhaps known more from his bouldering.
Ready?
See how handy he is in a speed wall. Lev stood at the time at 6.46. That's Alexei who 8.64. I thought for a second he hadn't stopped the timer there, but the time is registered 8.64. 2 Russian teammates. We have got a strong Russian team, as you'd expect, for the home European chance. Next up, we've got Slovenia's Andrzej Perhats on the right side of the screen, and Edvards Gruitis on the left.
Lane B, Andrzej Perhats, representing Slovenia.
Thank you, Mark. Ready?
There on the right, stopping the time at 8.6. 182 for Edvards. It's graded around about 6B if you were to put it into lead climbing terms, but honestly, it's hard to compare the two. Totally different sport, and it's all about speed, power, precision, most importantly. Next up on your right-hand side is Simon Potsek, and on the left is Daniel Boldyrev. Daniel Boldyrev.
Czech Republic.
Keep an eye on Daniel here.
Ready?
That's what I was talking about. Daniel stopping the clock at 6.09. Very, very close to that magic 6. Good run from him. What a great angle that is on that replay. You can really see how steep that wall really is. When you look at it from certain angles, it looks almost like the athletes are running up the wall, and they are. But it is vertical. It is, in fact, slightly overhanging.
Lane A, Peter Kulic, representing Slovakia.
Lane B, Petras Petrunas, representing Lithuania.
Next up is Peter Kurik on the left-hand side. Kipras Baltrunas on the right.
At your mark. Ready?
Both athletes having issues early on there. A little bit of a stumble, bit of a slip. Kipras not managing to get to the top of the wall as the timer ticks on. Peter getting a time. 8.72 for him. I always find it interesting to have a look at the athletes' climbing shoes when they do a speed comp, because it's such a specific type of climbing. Often you'll see a sort of slipper-style design on their feet. Tend to size them up a little bit bigger.
Representing Ukraine.
Lane B, Ram Levin, representing Israel.
Next up on the right is Ram Levin from Israel. On the left, Ukraine's Leonid Usachi.
At your mark. Ready?
Ram Levin coming in 7.68. There's a question on YouTube about what's my speed, what's my time on the speed wall. It's not good. There is a video. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but if you search for it, I'm sure you can find it. But it is important to highlight how difficult this sport is. I have such respect for these athletes. And here's two more of them. Great Britain's Will Bosey on the left-hand side, and Nicholas Colin from Belgium on the right. Will Bosey for a long time. Still is, perhaps. Youngest Brit to climb 9A. He's climbed a few of them now.
Ready?
Slight hesitation from Will there in the middle of the wall. Stops the clock at 8.12. He's going to be a bit disappointed by that. That slight hesitation that came through, you could see it with the foot placement. And that's all it takes on this. You've got, I mean, you've got less than 10 seconds to get this right, and any hesitation will count against you. And as Will comes down there, he kind of sighs out. You can tell he's a little bit annoyed with himself. You can see it there as well, slight hesitation at the top. Nicholas Collin smashing that stopper.
Lane A, Edwards Yeremenko, representing Lithuania.
Lane B, Yuval Shamla, representing Israel.
On the left, Eduardas Yeomenk. On the right, Yuval Shemela of Israel.
Ready?
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you could pick it up back at home, but I think that was Yuval who was just screaming at the wall. Athletes facing away from me, so it's hard to see their mouths moving, but let's see if we can see it in the room. There you go, yes it is. Yuval just giving it absolutely everything. That is so exciting to watch. Look at that screaming.
Lane A.
He just seemed to get angrier and angrier at the wall as he went up. I'm in no way suggesting that's the correct way to do it. I am not an expert on speed climbing, yelling or not. Man, that was fun to watch. Next up, Hannes Human from Sweden on the left, Jan Kritz on the right-hand side. Hannes looking very chilled out there, cheeky smile at the audience.
Ready?
Slipping a little bit as he stopped the clock, but still with a time of 7.32. Question coming in about time compared to other competitors' results. So this is not a race. I know it looks like a race, it's not a race. It's all about the time. So the top 16 times will go through to the finals, and then it becomes a race. Next out is Russia's Alexander Shikov on the left, Roland Rugen on the right-hand side. Both athletes stepping on the timing pad. That's what registers a full start or not. So they wait for the beeps. Alexander storming out that wall with a 5.96. That is a very good time from him. He's going to be chuffed with that. Remember that world record for men, 5.48. We've seen one world record tumble today. Yulia Kaplina setting that world record earlier on in the women's competition.
Lane B, Simon Lorenzi, representing Belgium.
On the left, Alex Kazanov. On the right, Simon Lorenzi. Different styles there with the belay. You can see once again, Alex in front, Simon behind. Alex Kazanov having all types of problems there on that final section of the route. Simon stopping the clock at 8.266. We're going to get specific about it. Alex just shaking his head as he comes down. He just had a moment. We'll see if we can see it on the replay in a second. Simon as well, though, had a moment, managed to recover slightly better than Alex. Look at that dyno at the end, that right leg flicking behind. Is that a Yanya flick? Are we seeing Yanya flicks on the speed wall?
Lane D, Dmitry Timofeyev, representing Russia.
Next Next up, Nimrod Marcus on your left-hand side of the screen. Dmitry Timofeev of Russia on the right.
Let
Let me
me
know in the comments if this is your first time watching a speed competition. Are you a speed competition aficionado?
Ready?
Dmitry stopping the clock at 5.85. I was expecting the Russians to be strong here today. It is their home championships. They probably get to sleep in their own bed. When the crowds are in this evening, you can expect a show. Right now, fairly quiet here in the arena. Just athletes, trainers, media's people watching. I'm a media's people. If you're watching this and you don't understand what I'm saying, by the way, there is a Russian version of this stream taking place on the Russian climbing channel, so you can check that out. Next up, Yaroslav Kash on the left. Kel Kashuk on the right.
Ready?
For Yaroslav. Remember, the teammates aren't necessarily knocking each other out just because they win, in quotation marks, this race. It's all about the time in the qualifications. The best of the two times progress into the finals, which will take place tonight. And I'll be here with you, chatting it all through.
Lane B, Sergey Luzhevsky, representing Russia.
Thank you, Mark. Ready?
Sergey Luzhevsky on the right-hand side, Carmel Raz Romeo on the left. Carmel taking a fall early on in that route. Let's watch a replay of that. You can see starting off his sort of side-to-side dynamic style, and as he reaches up for that hound hold, you can just see as we watch Sergey there setting his time. Slight limp there as he walks off. Sure he's all right.
Lane A, Martin Stranik, representing the Czech Republic.
Lane B.
Bodan Botnar on your right-hand side. Martin Stranik on the left.
Thank you, Mark. Ready?
Bodan stopping the clock at 7.64. Martin 10.16. It's such a strange moment when the athletes are being lowered down to the ground like that. It's a real sort of insight into what's going on in their head, because compared to the last 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, whatever it is, when they're full speed, it's just a sudden moment of calm for them. Very, very interesting to watch their faces. You can tell so much about how an athlete's feeling just by looking at them in those few seconds.
Frederick Solechuk, representing Sweden.
Thank you, Mark.
So, Frederick on our right, Federer on our left.
Ready?
Frederick, as I mentioned earlier, a bit of a YouTube star. Frederick having issues down low. He fights on regardless. Federer stopping the clock at 8.21. Frederick, you can just see he knew that run wasn't going to happen for him there. 12.45. It's gone very quiet on YouTube. If you're listening, fancy dropping me a question or just saying hello, giving people a shout out. I'll answer your questions. I'll shout you out if you're particularly interesting. Or you're suggesting to bring me coffee. Either one will get a shout out. Sasha Lehmann from Switzerland on the right-hand side. Stepan Potiek on the left.
Lane D, Sasha Lehmann.
Almost halfway through this qualification series for the men now. If you're looking for reliable results, head over to the IFSC website. You can see all the updates over there. Remember, we're looking for the top 16 athletes. Sasha Lehmann just shaking his hands out there, getting psyched up.
Ready?
Sasha Lehmann, a few stumbles early on the right, but he's powering through. Stops the clock at 8.46. Stepan, 9.72. I kind of get a feeling that Sasha was a little too hyped then. You could just see a couple of mistakes early on before he got settled into his rhythm. A couple of nice questions coming through here. George Longsdale says, hi Matt, if the athletes don't do well in speed, can they still qualify for the combined? I'm going to double check this, but you need to be ranked top 20 overall. So all the results are added together or times together, and that's how they work it out. So we won't know until the end of the week. Obviously, it's better to do sort of at least average in everything to get a chance into that combined. So I don't think you can blow it in the speed. Well, you might be able to blow it in the speed. There are many events to come where you can make up some misses. Tom says, will you be commentating all this week? Yes, Tom, I will be. I'll be here with you all week.
Ready?
Vladislav Julin on the left. Nikolai on the right. Two Russian teammates. Blisteringly fast time there from Vladislav Julin. 5.97. So yes, I will be here all week. You guys aren't used to necessarily seeing these qualification rounds on a live stream. We are doing it this week, mainly due to the corona regulations, meaning people can't necessarily get into the stadium. I'm having a chat with you guys today for these qualifications because it's a bit of fun. I'm having a good time. Tomorrow we've got 10 hours of qualification, so I might be in and out on that one, but I will be here with you all week. So stay with me. Janek Kruder on the left-hand side. Jakub Konecki on the right.
Thank you, Max. Ready?
Janek Kruder getting a strong start, then powering through. Slight hesitation there. What's he going to stop the clock at? 8.04 for Janek Kruder. Jakub, 10.74. That's unlikely to be enough to make it through into that top 16, but we shall see. I don't want to do that commentator jinx thing. Chris on YouTube is looking forward to bouldering. I'm looking forward to bouldering too. We'll chat about the setup in this arena probably tomorrow during the qualifications, but it is pretty unique. In fact, we have 3 bouldering walls, 1 lead wall and 1 speed wall, all arranged in a horseshoe shape throughout this stadium. It is beautifully designed. Guys here are doing a very good job of getting everything up and running despite the corona issues. On the right-hand side, Jiva Levin. On the left, Stepan Wolf. Jiva really taking a moment there. He's a young athlete, tipped for big things.
Thank you, Max.
I've had an inside tip, and he was the tip.
Thank you, Max.
Which sounds strange. See what you can do here today. Not quite sure what happened there. We've got a full start buzzer. The athletes are sort of waiting.
That's all for you. Yes.
So that's a shame to see. It seems like Stefan Wolf has been disqualified because of that full start. There was a bit of a hesitation. The judge informed him of that. As you can see, he's been unclipped. Disappointing from him. As we watch a replay of that.
That's your mark.
You can see maybe there was a slight lift there. Was that it? He was twisting his foot. Perhaps we saw a lift. G11 now climbing by himself to set this time. Getting huge support from the crowd there, 7.10. So sad to see a disqualification. It's all about that bottom pad. So the athletes have 1 foot on the pad, and if there's a lack of contact, a loss of contact between their foot and that pad, within 0.1 of the beep going off, or before, and they are disqualified, and that is it for them for that run. Sad to see that happen, but good to go through the rule just to clarify it for everyone. Next up, Marcin Dzięcki of Poland on the left-hand side, Nikola Kramarek on the right. Marcin has been on top form here today. We've seen him do, this is his 3rd run that we've watched, including those 2 practice runs, and he does seem to be very, very fast. Big sigh of breath out from Marcin then.
Ready?
Immediate acceleration. Stops the clock 5.74. What a time by him. I'm going to give you an analogy that you might find weird, but if anyone's ever driven a Tesla car before, an electric car, you know when you put your foot down, you just seem to go from static to like 1,000,000 miles per hour. That's a bit like watching Marcin climb. He just accelerates off that starting block. Let me know on YouTube if that analogy was too weird. I can tone down my analogies. Next up, Alexei Rubtsov on the left-hand side and Lev Rudatsky on the right. 2 Russian teammates. Someone's just asked, hey, is Alexei Rubtsov not competing? Yes, he is. He's competing right now. Quick, hurry, have a look. He's on your left.
Lev Rudatsky representing Russia.
That's your mark. Ready?
Here we go, 2 Russian athletes going head-to-head. Alexei Rubtsov slightly slower, 8.11, whereas Lev stops the time at 5.95. Remember, the world record stands at 5.48. We've seen 1 record fall today. Kind of took me aback when that world record fell this morning. I wasn't quite expecting it. But regardless, it fell, it tumbled. Are there more to come? Edvards Gruitz on your right-hand side, Anze
Representing Latvia.
Perhats on your left from Slovenia.
That's your mark. Ready?
Anze stopped the time at 8.04. There's a great camera at the top of the speed climb wall. Maybe this is just me who finds this interesting, but it's continuously sort of moving and twisting to try to get that upwards angle that we see on screen. I've got to say, the camera work at this event so far has been top-notch. Lots of lovely angles for us to see it in. Here we go then. Daniel Boldyrev on the right-hand side from Ukraine. Czech Republic's Simon Potyuek on the left-hand side. Simon Potyuek, Daniel Boldyrev.
At your mark. Ready?
Daniel with his classic. I've run out of superlatives there. I was trying to describe his style. It's a kind of flowing aggression. If a river was running very, very fast, that's what he'd be doing. Almost no effort. And again, it's hard to say that one style is better than the other because we see fast times with that very aggressive style and fast times from the sort of flowing, calm approach.
Playing B, Peter Kurish, representing Slovakia.
At your mark.
Peter Kurik on the right-hand side here. Kipras Baltrunas on the left from Lithuania. Great shot of the hands there. Kipras taking an early fall there, falling in slow motion, whereas Peter stops the clock at 7.81. Can you imagine doing all that prep, all that warm-up, all that build-up just to fall off in the first couple of moves? Speed climbing is a brutal sport, and I will fight anyone who tells me differently. It's tough out there for those athletes. Next up, Leonid Osachi on your right-hand side, Ram Levin on your left. Ram just taking a couple of seconds there just to get himself set up on their hold. You'll see all the athletes do that. They'll all hold onto the first hold, get their body position sorted, and that's just, again, to get to that muscle memory. They're about to explode off that mark, and they want everything to feel 100% when they do.
At your mark. Ready?
Leonid Osachi on your right, Ram Levin. Let's see what these boys can do. Ram stopping the time at 7.77. Leonid 9.75. If you've been with us from the beginning, this morning we've been watching the women's practice and qualification. We've now moved on to the men's practice and qualification. This is all setting up the finals tonight. Live streamed on the Russian climbing YouTube channel. On our right, Will Bosi. On our left, Nicholas Collin from Belgium. Will Bosi, 7.37. Nicolas, 6.67 for him. Apologies about the language, I caught that. I think Will was quite chuffed by that one. I think someone asked me, by the way, earlier to explain what chuffed meant. For an English phrase, it just means happy. I'll try to avoid using the word chuffed. Or I'll put an English dictionary below on YouTube. Either one. Let me know in the comments below what you prefer.
Playing B, Eduardas Yuremenko, representing
Here we go.
Lithuania.
Eduardas Yuremenko versus Yuval Shemela on the left-hand side. Both athletes snapping to it. Moment of truth here for these. Both athletes struggling in this round a little bit. Not particularly flowy from either of them. Some of the clock at 11 and Yuval misses the top timer. Yuval had a bit of an epic on that one. He started off, he just didn't look comfortable on the route and then failed to hit the top timer. Eduardas managed to get to the top, but probably not good enough on that round to go through. We shall see. Remember, the finals are tonight for the speed climbing. You can see there just a couple of moments of hesitation, and it's interesting with speed to see how one small mistake can make a big impact on the rest of their speed run. It sort of unsettles the athlete. You want everything to go as smoothly as possible. Deep breath in there. Jan Fritz, Hannes Booman on the right on your screen. Lovely hair there, Hannes Booman. No real speed. Just want to point it out. Explosive start from Jan Fritz there as he speeds up the wall. Slight hesitation as he goes near the top, but stops the clock at 6.7. Hannes 8.52. We're looking for climbs below that 7-second mark, really. We have seen some in the 5s. No world records yet. Patrick asks on YouTube, how many tries do they get? Good question, especially today, because we've seen a lot of speed climbing. They get 2 tries for the qualification period. So they get 2 attempts, the best time is taken. But you've seen them do 4 runs by the end of this broadcast, and that's because we showed the practice today. In the finals, it all changes. It's a head-to-head race, round of 16, and it gets narrowed down to that final place. But we'll discuss that more tonight. Next athletes up on stage now. Alexandra Shikov on the right, Roland Rugen on the left.
Ready?
Alexander, a big pause in the middle and then an acceleration, another pause. Gives up on that run, really, 12.16. You can see he just wasn't comfortable. 2 pauses. But the acceleration after that second pause was something wonderful to watch. These guys have another gear that you do not see often. And when that one's engaged, we do see some acceleration. There you can watch this replay. Big slip. Catches himself, pauses, composes, accelerates. And there, near the top, just takes a moment, didn't want to fall off, wanted to set a time. Smashes that stop clock. Alex Kazanov on the right-hand side of your screen. Simon Lorenzi on the left. You notice the belays attaching the climbers to the auto belay. Just for safety reasons, of course. They're the experts, they want to make sure everything's good, and that is the last thing on the athlete's mind to clip in. Also, they've just chalked up. Alex Kazanov gets us underway. Simon Lorenzi going well, though. Simon storming up the wall as Alex pauses. Stops the clock at 7.75. Alex, 9.94. Jesper on YouTube asks, why don't they strap the auto belay on the back? Seems like it's the way. I can't tell you an exact reason for that, but if I'm sort of thinking about it, I would imagine it's because of the way it might tip you forward. There is a bit of pressure on that auto belay. And if it's just out the back, it might perhaps rock you forward a little bit. And harnesses currently aren't designed to do that. That belay loop is at the front of a harness, not at the back of the harness.
Representing Israel.
But it's a good question. Maybe we need to instigate giant air pads for speed events. What do you think? 15 meters up, falling onto an air pad? Nimrod Marcus on the right, Dmitry Timofev on the left of Russia, climbing in front of his home crowd. Strong start from Dmitry there, powering up the wall. What's that time going to be for him? 6.1. 7.66 for Nimrod. Scott's just commenting on YouTube about the back belay, and he's saying because if you clip it onto the back, you get a face full of wall, head full of wall if you fell off. Yes, I hadn't considered that. Perhaps you pitch forward. Might improve my face, but you never know. You never know.
Lane A, Mikhail
Yaroslav Kash on your right-hand side.
Lane B, Yaroslav Tkach, representing Ukraine.
Veltel Kashuk on your left. Both these teammates very, very focused, as you can see. Their competition coming down to this moment.
Ready?
Yaroslav getting off to an absolute stormy start. Stops the clock just over 6.04. It's about as close as you can get, isn't it? He's smiling. He knows that was a good run. You can see that slipper-style design on the right-hand side. That slip-on we were talking about, the different styles of climbing shoes with this. And there is a difference. If you're lead climbing, bouldering, speed climbing, footwear is important. The athletes will pick their favourites for that. Next up, Sergei Luzetsky on the left-hand side. Karmel Raz Romeo. A lot of R's in that one, isn't there? On your right.
Ready?
Huge support for the Russian athlete Sergei there as he stops the clock at 6.30. Karmel having a slight pause, 10.60 for him. 5 athletes left to go here. Next up is Martin Stranik on the right-hand side, Budan Botnar on the left. Let me know if you're watching back at home. I'm having a lovely time here. Just watching these athletes perform is always a privilege. The sheer power, precision, speed, and dedication that it takes to do this sport, people underestimate.
Martin Stranik, representing the Czech
Martin
Republic.
Stranik on the right, Budan Botnar on the left.
Ready?
Bodan getting an amazing start there as he cracks up the wall. Martin Stranik slightly slower. Budan stops the clock at 6.97. Martin 9.87. Lovely slow motion shots there of that chalk. The routes get cleaned after the practice event. They don't get cleaned mid-session in this one. And the cleaning is, if you're a climbing geek like me, is quite interesting. Mainly because trying to watch a hold cleaner, trying to clean the holds on an overhanging speed lead is always an interesting moment. It's a job I wouldn't want. Can you imagine the pressure of that? Can you imagine if you didn't brush something properly? Terrifying. I'll stay in my commentary booth. Thank you very much. Fredrik on the left, Federer on the right. Fredrik from Sweden, Federer from Ukraine. Fredrik Siolakis stopping the clock at 9.04. Next up, Sasha Lehmann. He's getting a lot of love on my YouTube comments here. Sasha Lehmann on the left-hand side of your screen, Stepan Potjuik on the right. Now, Sasha perhaps started a bit hot last time. I said overhyped. Oversight, maybe. He just stumbled in that lower half of the route. Perhaps he'll be a bit calmer now. As you can see, another deep breath from him. Pumping himself up, shaking out those legs. Stefan, on the other hand, a little more composed, a little calmer, different styles on display.
Ready?
Sasha muscling himself up that route, stops the clock at 7.56. Stefan, 8.9. Seems, it's hard to tell if he's disappointed or happy there. He's smiling, perhaps he's smiling ruefully, I don't know. Sasha Lehmann just muscling his way up that route. 2 more runs to go. 4 more athletes ready to compete. Nikolai Yalavotsky on the left, Vladislav Julin on your right-hand side. 2 Russian teammates once again. Vladislav Julin, of course, no stranger to this level of competition.
Ready?
Vladislav Julin stops the clock under 6 seconds, 5.82. That is a very fast run in qualifying for him. He takes a moment to turn around, wave to the crowd. Big Russian contingency here, obviously cheering him on. So we've almost done it. We're almost there. This is the final 2 athletes. You're about to see Zheny Kruda on your right-hand side, Jakub Konecki on your left. Final 2 athletes to set the time. Marcin Dziecki currently leading this competition. He's definitely going through to the finals. All these results can be found on the IFSC website or on the app.
Representing Slovenia.
Marcus Nimrod, or Nimrod Marcus, I should say, sorry, reading off a list here. He is currently in that 16th position danger place. He'll be the one sweating backstage. Let's see if these guys can knock him off that position. Zheny Kruda, Jakub Konecki.
Ready?
Zheny Kruda stopped the clock at 8.4. Jakub took a fall down there in the middle of the route. Zheny looked to be on course for a very good time there. Had a slip in the upper section. He looks a little disappointed with himself. One of the wonderful things about watching Zheny Kruda climb is he's always very clear what his emotions are, whether that's pure happiness or straight up anger. He will always show us what he's thinking. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the speed practice and qualification as we watch some replays of that run. The finals are tonight. Head over to the Russian Climbing YouTube channel, set a reminder. I will be here. In fact, I'll be here all week taking you through this event. Lovely to see you, and I will see you guys soon.
Итак, друзья, квалификация мужчин скорости закончилась. Ждем всех в этом зале ровно в 18:00 на церемонию открытия. И на 18:30 запланирован у нас старт финалов скорости чемпионата Европы. Ну и, конечно же, по окончании финалов состоится награждение, церемония награждения по итогам сегодняшнего соревнования.
Короче говоря, ладно, может я сейчас с ребятами сделаю. Мы вот эти баннеры боковые, вот которые в углу, подрежем внизу и скатаем на последний ряд. И просто сегодня.
Attention of the team managers. Official results of the men qualification round are published in WhatsApp group.